A teacher in a New Hampshire high school has been put on leave after students in that class actually sang a song about the KKK as part of a school project. Here's a part of that song.
The streets, white masks on our heads, blood beneath our feet, laughing till they're dead. Ha ha ha! The Klan that was formed was 1865. Got shut down within 10 years, but we'll come back alive. Hey, KKK, KKK, let's kill all the blacks. Burn across all their front yard and hope they don't come back. Oh, KKK, KKK, no longer politics. Keeping civil rights and is our true new world gift.
Good formed up white supremacy. Only got unmasked by John F. Kennedy. Recruiting dropped to none, but we cannot be stopped. It's far too fun, so come along and watch those black folk run.
KKK, let's kill politics. Keeping civil rights inept is our new world gift. Now that we have left the country with these scars, there's no way they can go to school without hearing of us. Grand wizards left behind, one great big legacy. We're here to stay, big shoes to fill in this society. Oh, KKK, KKK, let's kill all the blacks.
Wow, okay. Some of the lyrics hard to hear, obviously, but there's references to the founding of the KKK, how they're coming back even though they were shut down or whatever, calls to kill people based on their race. So this is a result of a project where you're supposed to use events from Reconstruction in a Christmas carol. Technically, this abides by that, although obviously got the teacher in a lot of trouble. And so I want to thank, in particular, the student that took that video that you saw. So that is Chloe Harris, a 16-year-old who was told not to film any of the performances, but decided to anyway, because apparently this sort of thing is pretty common.
Yeah, so we had a really interesting project when I was in 8th grade. We had a substitute teacher in history who was wonderful and had us actually refight the Civil War in a game. You would have loved it, okay? And it was the North and the South, and I was on the South, and she put honestly the better students in the South because we had a lot less resources, et cetera, and we won. In our version, the South won. Sorry. Okay.
Great.
But nobody sang racist songs. That's crazy. Like you could study the racism of the time, but the minute the kids start singing KKK all the way or whatever they were saying, no.
They literally said, let's kill all the blacks.
No, you can't. No, come on, man. You got to have some common sense. No, you can't do that. That's not fun. And look, it's a little bit telling of the culture that the kids thought that was a funny song, right? And it's certainly telling that do they have any black friends? I can't imagine that they do. Obviously, I don't know them personally, but like, did their black friends find that funny if they had any? I would very seriously doubt it, right? But it's mainly on the teacher. You got to put an end to it. You can't encourage it. You can't abide by it. As Richard Ojeda was said, I can't accept that, right? Easiest thing in the world. Don't do it. And so now it's a mess.
Yeah, and supposedly the Chloe Harris said that the lyrics to the song was distributed beforehand. I don't know for sure if the teacher had access to that, but allowing it to go ahead, if you did know that that's what they were going to sing, seems insane. You want to play a quick game in reference to something you said? So you talked about you don't know if they have black friends. Do you want to guess what percentage of this city, Dover, is black or African American?
Okay, I'm going to guess 1.5%.
It is 1.7%. It is a 90.
I'm good at games.
Look, it's New Hampshire. New Hampshire is one of the whitest parts of the country, but that is part of why you get something like this. I mean, I don't think that's enough for a 16-year-old to think that the KKK is something that in 2018 you should be venerating. That requires, I think, a failure on the part of the families, obviously. There's probably some political influence, the media, that's allowing them to think that Nazis and the KKK are no longer objectively bad, that it's a fight that we have to refight every year for some reason. I think that probably influences it as well.
Yeah, it's just some degree of empathy for our fellow human beings would have prevented this.
Yeah.
And yeah, come on, if you're a teacher, step up. Whether you saw the notes ahead of time or not, and not just because it's the wrong thing to do, not just because it would be terribly offensive, rightfully so, if there were any black students and they walked by and they heard a class singing, "Let's kill all the blacks." How did that not occur to you, right? But also because when that video comes out, think about how much trouble those kids are in. Like, you have a responsibility to the whole class, including and I don't know why I'm looking out for the people who did the wrong thing here, but I just want to, I just can keep it real. To the kids who are singing too, they could get in massive trouble.
Yeah.
So it's a terrible dereliction of responsibility to let them do that. Instead, you should have a conversation about why it's wrong. You didn't even have to be accusatory if you stopped them from singing it. It could have been a teachable moment, if you will.
Yeah. And again, to Chloe, a great job in being willing to do that, even though you could get in trouble, you could get ostracized for pointing out the racism that apparently you see quite often. Being willing to spread it so that we all know is a courageous act.
2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.